All right. Hey, welcome to our show, everyone. We have a special treat for you today. Normally, we go through completely made up and ridiculous stuff that may or may not have some basis in reality. But today, we are going to tell real and true ghost stories from our own experiences, with the exception of Wild Bill, because like me, I can never tell if he's telling me the truth or telling me a story, as
I'm
any
here
good
to lie.
Sasquatch hunter. What was that, Bill?
I'm here to lie.
All right, Bill. Today, try and give us the real deal, the real story, with plenty of exaggerations. We strongly encourage exaggeration. All right. So, ghost stories. Julie, we were talking earlier, and you had some interesting stories. Why don't we start with you?
All right. Well, from about the age of 8 to 11, I lived in a haunted house. And we had, there was
Hold on. Bill's poking me in the eye. Why are you poking me in the eye, Bill? Stop that.
Because I'm a jerk.
What? All
I'm
right.
a jerk.
Yeah, well,
Go ahead, dude. I'm sorry for that.
my eye hurts. All right, go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, haunted house. Had a little girl that was there, a little ghost girl, and we could hear her around. We had a basement, and you could hear her running around, and then we had, I don't know who they were, but some voices that we used to hear all the time, different male voices, and they talk, and we would hear them all the time. And I used to say my brothers had bedrooms downstairs, and so they kind of were in and out of the house. I would go down there and sleep in my brother's rooms, and that's when I would hear them all the time, like all night, just hearing people. And we ended up finding out from what the old timers said in Monroe that the house that the land was on was like back in the day, there was like some burials there.
Yeah.
Never been able to verify that, through the city, but I've tried to. But yeah, that was what the old time.
Like Native American burials or
American, or if it was just family, people that, they used to do that all the time. And,
could you tell what they were saying? Like, was it intelligible?
well, at the time I could, but it's been so long ago, I can't really remember what I would hear. I just remember them and just little noises off and on. But yeah, it was all the time. And what years and later, after we moved out, and I actually had my cousins moved in there for a little while. They only stayed there for like a year and a half, and then they were out. And after they left, they actually tore down the house, and they've never put anything on it again. And it's not for sale. They won't let anybody do anything with it. And there's houses, it's in a neighborhood, and there's houses before it and houses after it. But that section of land still, whatever, 40 years later, nothing. And it's just an empty space.
That's weird. So, were you scared? Did they freak you out, or was it just kind of a?
No, that's what's kind of funny. I never was scared of anything. But I grew up in a house that, we have our moments that we've had in those kind of things. So I was open to it. So yeah, I never got scared.
Could everybody in your household hear them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although my dad was a rather curmudgeon-y fellow, and he wouldn't buy into anything. He thought we. So.
Did they hide things on you?
No, never seen that. I like my one brother's bedroom. It had this is back in the 70s, so he had the beads, like we used to hang in the doorways, and those would move. I would, when I was just move, and so I knew they were coming in and out.
Interesting.
And then my family, a bunch of my mom's sisters and my cousins, they all, when I was young in the house, they did a Ouija board to try and and I can still picture my mom and my aunt and cousin, with their hands on the board thing, and they were getting some really weird responses.
Like what? Do you remember?
Not a lot, because I can't remember what but I just remember it going to yes and no, and then I can't remember if it spelled anything out. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
So have you had ghostly experiences since then, or was it just specific to that location?
No, I've had quite a few, actually. Yeah. And I get presences around me for years. Yeah.
So would you call yourself a medium?
No.
No, I'd call her a small.
Or
why would you not call yourself a medium?
well, because I think mediums can access it, and I don't necessarily access that. It's just there sometimes. It's not all the time. So to me, that's more. I think I'm just more. I think because I've always been open to it, and so I just have more of a sense. Feel something. I've had like one aunt come to me after she passed, and right at my bed, and she wanted to tell me something, and she leaned over, and it startled me so much out of sleep, and then it was gone, and she never came back. I think
Julie.
Yeah.
Would you like to run an experiment with me right now?
Yes.
Okay. Let me think of one. I want you to tell me. There's a bingo ball game we're going to do when this podcast is over. But in the meantime, I want you to count to 5 and then tell me the first story that comes into your head. It can be about anything.
You want me to count out loud?
No, you can do it however you're comfortable.
The first thing that comes to my head is my grandpa when he was passing away, and I actually seen his I would say his spirit come out. I can see it's just like a very see-through, filmy kind of thing, and yeah, that's the first thing that pops into my head.
How old were you?
I was 13 when he died.
And what do you think that you learned from that?
Well, not to get too far off, things and my faith and stuff. I think that's the way that's where he was going. He was off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on our panel. We're going to talk more later.
Okay, we will.
Oh, Ken disappeared.
Oh. Nah, I'm still here. The ghost scared me away. All right. Hey, Sandy, do you want me to share that picture that you sent me?
Well, is it properly blurred out?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have anything else to add, Julie?
Oh, I'm good. I could take the whole hour, so.
Ooh, I kind of want you to. I like your stories. But I will take the stage now. So what Ken is going to be sharing here is an image that was given to me by someone I know. And I believe it was maybe a father-in-law who was in his last stages. And if you look on the left-hand side on his arm, that is a hand. It has not been photoshopped. I realize our credibility is lacking there, Ken, but
hey, I do not even have Photoshop installed on my laptop.
That photo image was not altered in any way. There were some people in the room, but there was nothing attached to that hand on his arm.
And it should be noted that this type of thing you may have seen in the old days when you had double exposures and that type of thing with film, but being that this is a digital image, I don't really see how it would be like a double exposure or something like that.
You know what? I said this photo hasn't been altered, but it has, because we had to blur everybody out so that nobody was identifiable.
Yeah, I did crop it to crop the folks that were in the picture and blurred his image.
Yeah.
Did we lose?
There were family members in the room as this was happening, and they could not see that hand there. But when they looked at the photo, the hand was there.
Did they tell you anything about the picture, about what the family members, what the reaction to it was when they seen the photo?
Oh, well, I think amazement. I don't think anybody was scared. I think it was just amazement, because this was shortly before the end for this gentleman. And I think it was probably just more of a comforting thing for them. A reminder that we're not alone in those end moments.
That's deep.
Wow. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I feel a little bit awkward now that we're actually sharing it, because it was a private family moment, but that hand on the arm was just kind of
I think it's something that should be shared. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely things in the world that can't be explained through sciences and whatever. I mean, I've had a number of experiences that maybe aren't ghost related, that just there's no way to explain them. And Bill, I'll let you tell your story, but like as an example, I was driving home from the gym one night, and it was lightly raining. It was kind of a mist, just enough to get the roads wet. And I was in a 69 Camaro, right? So it did have power steering, but no anti-lock brakes, nothing like that. It had narrow tires, and probably bald, knowing me. And it was a 45 mile an hour speed limit road with 2 lanes going each way. And the way I drove, it pretty much was aggressive from the red light. So by the time I got to the next intersection, I'm sure I was going over the speed limit. So probably 50, 55 miles an hour or whatever. And as I nosed into the intersection, I was in the left of 2 lanes, and someone from the opposite way started to make a left-hand turn in front of me. And they got far enough into it that they blocked my entire lane. So instinct took over. I stood on the brake and cranked the wheel to the right. And what should have happened with that car in those road conditions is I should have just slid straight right head on into him. But what did happen is my Camaro shifted to the right lane. The tires did not slide at all, and then it continued straight down the road. And to this day, I'm like, there is no way that physics would say that could happen. It's just not even possible, in my opinion. But just, I've had a couple of experiences like that are just like unexplainable. So kind of off the subject of ghosts, but it's just things happen in this world that you really can't explain.
As someone who has ridden with you in that car, I would agree with your assessment.
You would agree with my description of my driving habits?
I would, and I would agree that you probably should have, at very least, been hospitalized on that one. And I'm glad you were.
Yeah. If I was wearing a seatbelt, that car only had a lap belt, so I would have been bouncing my head off the dashboard, probably with the 327 coming back through the firewall, and it would have been ugly.
Well, if we're going to veer off onto topics that aren't quite ghostly, I have one from this winter, if you would like to hear.
Yeah, let's do that, and then if Bill is patient, I can't believe he's sitting there that patiently, but we'll get to Bill. I know
I'm
he
just
has some.
enjoying your stories.
He's very interested.
We
Okay.
we
So,
have many stories. If there's one thing I do not have a shortage of, it's stories. They may not all be appropriate for podcasts, but anyway, Savvy, go
same.
ahead.
Okay. So, as some of you know, I took a route driving very important things around and dropping them off in very important places, because it gave me the luxury of doing whatever I want every day, all day. Right. So last winter, when it was cold and icy, um, I was unloading the van out of the back. You know how the back doors open up, and I, jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out. Well, I was standing on the back to reach some stuff up inside the van, and all of the sudden, it felt like someone shot me out of a cannon. I didn't slip. I didn't do anything. I was standing there 1 minute, and the next minute, it was like being shot backwards out of a cannon. And I thought, "Oh, this is gonna hurt." Right? But it didn't. It didn't. Like, it felt like slow-mo backwards out of the van, and then, like, somebody caught me with their hands cupped and just gently laid me down on the pavement,
Oh,
right? And now there was a witness to this. There was somebody saw it happen and they were like, "Oh my God, she's gonna be hurt. That's gonna hurt." I did not have one bruise. It didn't hurt. It was kind of like being, like I said, landing on a feathered pillow, like somebody just going, "Oh," and laying down a baby or something. I don't know who had the cannon that shot me out of that van. I and I don't know who caught me, but I should have been.
Forces are at play. I
Yeah.
probably I probably have gym stories like that, but the most amazing thing to me is some of the ridiculous things that have happened to me in a completely packed gym and nobody saw it. Like, anyway, but that's a different story for another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bill,
Hello.
you have some ghosts to tell us about.
Oh, this is gonna blow your mind. So you remember during the big COVID shutdown? The big
Yes,
COVID shutdown. Nobody was allowed to go to a bar.
nobody
was allowed to
nobody was
have
supposed to go
fun.
to a party. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody was allowed to do nothing. Well, I did something. You know what I did? I went straight down to one of it's our favorite bar, Doc's, and I remodeled that son of a gun. It was like a whole year of COVID shutdown. There I was at our favorite bar, like fixing it up, building a new back bar, cleaning
And
up the bathroom, blah,
and
blah, blah.
and if you
So,
if you subscribe to our channel, you'll know that that's Sasquatch's favorite bar too. We have pictures of Sasquatch there
oh yeah,
that are
he's
that are that are
there every
completely
Saturday night.
completely
So,
not Photoshop because I don't have Photoshop installed on my laptop.
well, he drinks there. He drinks Schmidt beer, animal beer.
Schlitz. Schlitz, Bill.
That's what he does. He likes beer. That's why him and I have become friends. And that one picture, there he is standing behind me with a beer in his hand. But anyway, let's get back to the ghost story. So I had a friend. His name was Larry. Larry was a good guy. He was my buddy. He was my construction buddy. He was real good at tile. And we needed to do a lot of tile, a lot of woodwork. We had to do plumbing, electrical. We had to do everything to fix that bar up so that all of us can go there, drink, and have a good time. So Larry, because he lived in Issaquah, way south of where Doc's is, he was given the opportunity to stay in the adjoining house right next to Doc's. Well, It didn't take but 2-3 days before Larry comes out shaking like a leaf, because sometimes Larry could be kind of like a girly man. We won't pick on Larry. He was okay. He would hang in there when we were drinking, but Larry said that he had a ghostly experience. Yeah, there it is, right there. There's
Is
me and
that
my buddy
Larry?
Sasquatch drinking. Right there.
Now I know we have to. I know Sandy has her opinion, but you'll notice that's Schmidt beer right there. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Wild Bill.
Oh, okay. So anyway, Larry comes in shaking like a leaf, saying that he had a ghostly experience where the previous owner of that bar, we won't bring up his name right now, but everybody in that community loved him because he owned the bar. Well, Larry went to sleep one night and he heard rattling in the background, 1-2 a.m. in the morning. He heard pots and pans clanging in the kitchen. And he got up and he ran out there, and there was just the upper cupboard doors were open, but there wasn't any pots and pans clattering. It was the ghost asking Larry, "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Larry told me many episodes. I mean, I worked there remodeling that place for months and months and months. And it was all the time the ghost of previous owner. He was like doing stuff to kind of torment Larry, to try to get Larry to get out of his damn house. Larry would be in the shower, for example. And Larry said he could hear footsteps. And when he got out of the shower, his towel was on the floor, not on the towel rack. I could tell you 100 different things that happened to my friend Larry at that house right there next to Doc's, our favorite drinking hole right here in Washington State.
Story, Wild Bill.
I think you had a couple other experiences that you were telling me about earlier about that too, weren't you?
Oh yeah. There was not only the kitchen thing or the shower thing, but there was also the TV in the living room would fire up all by itself and do Alfred Hitchcock movies.
For real?
For real.
I don't know
and
if
then
you
when
knew
Larry got out of bed, he went in there, and he didn't even have cable or nothing. He didn't have jack. But the TV would be doing Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Bill, I have to ask a question.
Okay.
What makes you so certain it was the former bar owner?
Because Larry saw him. Larry saw his ghost standing in the doorway, blocking the hallway light. He was silhouetted. Larry woke up, turned over in his bed, and looked, and there was the former owner staring at Larry.
Did he say anything?
He didn't say jack. He just stood there and scared the hell out of Larry. It was, yeah. I can't even imagine the fear that Larry felt.
Yeah, I'd have freaked out. Hey, Bill, question for you. I don't know if you knew the previous owners, but were they Alfred Hitchcock fans, or was that just to freak Larry out?
I think that the previous owner, dude, who I won't mention his name, I think that he just wanted Larry to pack his bags and go away.
Hey, by the way,
he
we
wanted
have
that house to himself.
But by the way, we have Caucasian Sasquatch on, who has a great channel on of his own as well. Is asking if he can have that TV that plays Alfred Hitchcock on his own. He must be a Rum and Hitchcock fan.
Well, who isn't?
The Caucasian Sasquatch. He has his own channel. You can check him out there. He has some great shorts as well. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. I enjoy watching.
Not only is he entertaining, he is a good dude.
He is. He has some great Sasquatch stories. We'll have to invite him on at some point to tell his Sasquatch story. Invite him as an honorary expert panel member.
I bet he has some ghost stories too. The paranormal. I'm sure of it.
Hey, Bill, we're gonna have to ask Don if he's had any of the Alfred Hitchcock experiences with the TV, or if it's even the same TV. I don't know.
Well, I think that me and you ought to get together next weekend and have a couple of drinky drinks right there at Doc's. And we'll go over there and beat on Don's door, and we'll drag him over and feed him alcohol.
Oh,
and
you know what?
You know, we'll just got a story or two to tell us.
We'll just catch him when he's at Doc's, and I'm sure we can all mosey over for some shots.
Why don't we, when we do our road trip, why don't we start at that house and spend a couple nights there?
I am completely okay with starting our road trip off at Doc's. It is the best bar in the world.
No. The house.
The house is on the other side of the parking lot from Doc's, so it's all in the same place.
So, right. Julie, are you down with that? Are you down with drinking some tequila over at Don's place?
Oh, you know it. I'm always up.
All right.
No tequila.
Let's do it.
Drinking tequila will invalidate any stories that we have in that house.
Oh, no.
I think tequila accentuates the stories. Have you heard any of my stories? Oh my God. Yes. All right. Speaking of stories, so I honestly didn't believe this ghost story, but when I was a kid, me and 3 or 4 of my buddies would of course play war like boys are supposed to do. And at one of our friends' houses, they had a big gravel pit right next to their house. So we'd go out there and play war. And we were on one of the ridges looking over at the tree line on the other side. And my friends are like, there's a ghost over there. There's a ghost over there. And I looked and like what I saw was like a glowing white globe or orb, like just kind of slowly moving in front of the tree line. And I'm like, oh yeah, I see it. It's a ghost. It's a ghost. In my head, I'm thinking, why would it be a ghost? It's a globe. It's an orb. Aren't ghosts supposed to look like people and come and scare you and shit? So, you know, at the time, I'm like, okay, I saw something, but maybe I was just fooling myself. Maybe it was a trick of the mind. And as years went by, I just kind of chalked it up to it was just kind of the group hysteria, that type of thing. And I just like filed it away and thought it was nothing, thought it was just my imagination. Well, a couple of years ago, I don't really watch the shows because the dramatics can be a little bit annoying, but I was watching one of the ghost hunter shows, and they were showing, oh, here's a video of ghosts, and one of their videos showed an orb going across the room, and they're like, oh, it's this kind of ghost or whatever. I'm like, holy crap, that's what I saw when I was a kid. And I'm like, this is weird. So I made a post on social media, not thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw a ghost, and I didn't think it was a ghost. And then I saw the show and said it was a ghost. And like within 20 minutes of me posting it, one of my childhood friends from the old town's like, was that next to the Johnson's place? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that place is haunted. And he like goes through some of the stories that he had of what he had experienced at the same place, which actually he did say they were there hunting, and they were in the house and looked out, and they saw a figure dressed up as a hunter, not the orb, but just kind of moving around. They didn't hear any sounds, like no footsteps or whatever. And if you ever been out in the woods, there's always footsteps, crunching leaves, crunching branches, whatever. And then they went over there. There's no footprints, no sign or whatever. And just a couple of stories like that. And just like, okay, that's kind of weird. Just kind of lends credibility to some of the things, some of the things that you kind of see and hear and think it's nothing, and then when you start talking, there's like other people have seen the same things. It's kind of weird.
Okay, I have a similar, if I may share. About probably 30 miles from where you're talking about, I was on a walk in the evening, and that was 1995. And that year, no matter what field you looked in, when it just started to get dark, there were millions of fireflies. I've never seen anything like it except for that one particular year. So I was walking on these old country roads, and I looked up, and there was like an orb, but it was going and hovering above a house for a while, and then it would move to the next house and hover, and the next one and hover, and then it came and hovered above me and the person I was walking with, which at the time I'm like, aliens for sure. But then I got to thinking, what if it was just what do you call those flying things? The flying things that people use.
UFOs?
No. No.
Frisbees?
Oh my God, you guys know, like
Oh
just say what they are. The remote control things.
yeah, drones.
Drones. Yeah, what I'm blushing now. What if it was just drones, but we didn't really know drones existed at that time?
That actually does. All right, not to completely interrupt your story, that does take me completely off the ghost subject. Me and Mom were standing out in front of the old barn in the yard in front of the barn, and there was something that flew just barely over the treetops over the farmyard, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Because it was like a cylindrical shape, and it didn't have front wings, but it had like the tail wing section, and it didn't have the cockpit looking thing. And I'm like, well, that is weird. And like both of us saw it, we talked about it, and we're like, oh, must be a UFO. And it was probably, I don't know, 5-6 years later, when I was in Washington, D.C., we went to the Smithsonian. At the time, I didn't really follow too much of aerospace stuff. But when we went in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, we were looking at, and when we got in the section that had cruise missiles, I'm like, holy shit, that's exactly what I saw flying over the farm. And thank God I did not know what they looked like at the time, because this was like mid to late 80s, before the Cold War ended. Could you imagine being a kid seeing a fucking cruise missile fly over the farm?
Why would there be a cruise missile flying over that place?
Some kind of a test, weapons test, because there's I kind of think, why would some of that stuff happen too? But that area is so sparsely populated. I think there were some things tested over there, because like I remember, like you'd hear jets fly over breaking the sound limit, and you'd hear sonic booms, and you don't hear even that shit in areas that are populated. So it was just something that I think probably was some kind of test.
Okay, now I want to know Julie's opinion about the orbs.
Yes. Yeah, the orbs, that's been documented forever. I mean, you can see and read about anything. Orbs are very very big in that, where I don't know
what so I know when you get people that actually research and and have experience with ghosts, which honestly here we're just sharing personal experiences and not any deep research, but kind of following on Sandy's question, and you say that orbs are fairly common, so how would that correlate to like seeing an orb at one point and actually seeing a human shaped figure, another at another time? Is that something you've heard of, or does it make any sense? Going back to the story that I told.
Sense to have that still energy, right? I mean, that's what is brought up in that. So, I think it could correlate right with it.
I'm curious about like in my story, the way it hovered above, like it was going to all the houses and hovering maybe 15 feet above the houses. Like I can't see why would a ghost orb do that?
I'm stumped on that one. I don't know why a ghost orb would do that. And now we want to go back to aliens, That sounds more feasible.
That's what I thought at the time. But my brain is trying to go through all the logical, like, what could it actually have been? If we're not talking about aliens or paranormal events or anything like that.
Conversation.
Bill, what do you think?
What do you think, Bill? Yeah. What's wild, Bill?
Well, I just had to readjust my phone because it flopped over.
Oh.
Okay, so I have
My
a
phone had
I have
drink
a
earlier.
I have a highly professional sketch artist rendering here. As if you are a follower of our channel, you may be familiar with some of these professional sketches. So Sandy, is this the kind of orb that you've seen? Maybe with
No.
a green figure with antennas sitting? No,
absolutely not.
Not even though it's hovering right over my house here.
Absolutely not.
See how it hovers? No.
Absolutely not. It was nothing like that at all.
All right. So if you're following our podcast here, this is what it does not look like.
Are you sure?
Would you quickly sketch up what it does look like?
From my experience or yours, you're gonna have to relate the information to me so I can do a professional sketch artist rendering.
All of white light.
Well, that looks pretty professional to me.
All right, so Sandy, actually, I got a question for you. How big would you say it was?
Magic 8-ball size. It was small, and it hovered. It was not more than 15 feet above me as I walked on that road, and kind of followed, like, woo, floating.
Okay, that's kind of weird because the the orb that I saw was like a ball of white light, and it was probably, I don't know, 3 feet diameter.
Oh,
and it's just kind of weird because like you convince yourself that you were just seeing things, but you saw something, and then after the fact things just kind of come together. It's kind of weird.
I 100% believed it was something mysterious at the time, but then later on when drones became the norm, I thought, well, the test period probably would have been around that time period, but the average person walking around didn't necessarily know.
So
yeah, but a drone is not an orb, right? A drone is really
right, but it would have had a light. I want to hear what Julie had to say, though.
Oh, I just had a question for you, Sandy. So that close up above your head, I mean, you could see it pretty clearly, right? Was there sound, or could you see through it, like through this, and see like the sky or the tree, wherever?
There was no sound, and it was just like it was an orb, and it was fairly small, but like if I held a flashlight up to you, it would have been that kind of light, but more contained in an orb. Not dispersed. The light wasn't dispersed out.
Where Where I was going with that though is drones you can explain with current physics, right? Because realistically, they're just an improvement in known technology, meaning they have propellers, right? They're like mini helicopters with a bunch of propellers, right? Rotors, whatever you want to call it. If you have an orb that's just kind of floating with no sound, yeah, a drone is going to have sound because you can't create lift with propellers without making sound.
True.
You know what I mean?
I just thought maybe a drone would have a light, and maybe that would explain the light I was seeing. But yeah, there was no sound at all. And the fact that we even saw it was kind of a miracle because, chit chat the whole time.
That's
We all have heard of Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Food fighters.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, we
World War
used
II.
to do that. We used to do that in the kitchen cafeteria.
Orbs.
What
the
are
orbs
the Foo
would
Fighters?
surround the B-17s when they went on bombing raids to Germany. The Foo Fighters.
Oh no, I hadn't heard of that. So, like when
dude.
you said Foo Fighters, I was thinking of the band. I hadn't related that to.
The Foo Fighters, that'll be another discussion at another time, but they were glowing orbs that would surround the massive flights of B-17s that were on their way to bomb the hell out of Germany. And the Foo Fighters, they would surround the B-17s and cause electrical failure in the B-17s.
Really?
Electrical failure means that a lot of B-17s crashed in Germany because of them. And those Foo Fighters are ghostly entities that we don't know anything about. They can't figure it out. I can't.
That would be an interesting topic to dig into.
It would be. There's other stories from the World Wars that are mysterious as well.
All right, to bring it back to a ghost story, I have a friend, and speaking of war, I had a friend that said the ability to see ghosts kind of ran in the female side of her family. So, and that kind of makes me think, Julie, you bring up that your dad was kind of a curmudgeon, right? But it could be that this was also something that flowed through your mom's side of the family. But in any case, this friend said that they lived on the East Coast, right? And she related to me the story of when they would visit the Gettysburg battlefield. Her daughter, who was pretty young at the time, could actually see the Civil War soldiers like just pacing through the field and wandering around, and almost like they were stuck there but lost, just kind of wandering through the field. And it was just eerie the way she told it. And she said that she didn't make a big deal of it, but her daughter was saying she saw something. And you know how when your kid does something that you don't want to reinforce, so it's not something that sticks. She said that's kind of what she did, so that as her daughter aged, it wasn't something that stuck with her, so she wasn't haunted by it. But it's and I don't think that's uncommon in particular for that particular battlefield. But she gave me some fairly weird descriptions of it.
What do you mean by weird?
No, just
freaking me out, man.
Just kind of haunting, like
it is haunting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have almost 15 minutes left, or a little bit more than 15 minutes. And I would like to know who has the most unexplainable story, and have you shared it yet?
Unexplainable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Julie and see. Julie, do you have another story that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I mean, just not that long ago, like almost a year ago, my best friend and I took a road trip to Idaho, and we stayed. And I can't think of the name of the place, but we stayed in a little town with one of the oldest hotel and bars is and used to be, and it actually used to be a jail, and they still have like the original and stuff. This place is, it's really old, and it's bare minimum, it's a bed, it's a table and a chair, and that's it. Like it's there's shared bathrooms, so it's, the bathrooms are down the hall. I mean, it's old school. But we stayed there, and they have claimed it's been haunted for ever. And my girlfriend and I actually had 2 experiences with it, where there was something went flying when we were in the bathroom. Something went flying off the sink area, and then we had a door handle started to move from the inside, and we could see it move, and there was nobody out there because we knew there we would just walked back in. And then my friends, she had this little, I don't know, like a bathroom thing, like, what do you call those, the like sponge kind of thing, and she had set it on the nightstand, and we were talking stuff, and next thing we know, it's on the back of her pillow on the bed, and we had no idea because
could you feel any could you feel any energy disturbance in the space?
That's what was kind of strange, especially for me, because usually I'll kind of pick up on something, and no, it was there, and we're like, okay, how did that just happen? So that's my most probably unexplainable.
So I know, Sandy, you have had similar types of things where I'll let you explain it, but like things get moved and disappear and then come back, right? So do you want to tell any of those stories?
I think the one that was, I don't even know if it was disturbing because none of it has scared me. Can you take that image down so we can look at each other? This
is an amazing image of artistry. I don't know if I should take it down.
Brother, get rid of it.
My goodness, I can't believe you. I can't believe you make me take down my artistry.
And I'll do it again. Okay, so
that hurts. That hurts my soul. That hurts my soul.
Well, I like to look at people in the eyes if I can, and y'all were too small for me to see that. Okay, do you want to? Do you want to hear my story? Petunia and I will tell it to you. All right.
Yes, but don't have Petunia tell it because my translation skills are a little rusty, and all I have is the Sasquatch to English dictionary. I don't have the puppy to English dictionary.
What about a Sasquatch to Petunia dictionary?
Yeah, I don't know where I put that.
Okay. Do you want to hear my story or not?
Yeah, but I'm going to keep interrupting because...
Don't. Okay. All right. So this was before Petunia came to live with me. And fewer things have happened since she came around. Seriously. There's something to consider there. Anyway.
So she's not only a Sasquatch hunter, she's a ghost hunter.
Maybe she's
what?
scaring them off. Anyway,
Bill, you are still our Sasquatch hunter. Don't worry. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous of Petunia.
I love Petunia. I think Petunia and Molly need to meet.
They will be best friends for sure, and we'll stay in that haunted house because Petunia will chase anything off. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble getting started with my story, friends.
Go for it, honey.
Okay. So I like to clean my house, right? I like to clean my house on a consistent, regular basis. So it feels really nice and smells good and all that, right? So Sunday was my day for that. And I always finish cleaning my house with the bathroom, right? Clean everything, all the light switches, all the surfaces. It's the last thing I do before I walk out the door and go to meat raffle, right? Do you guys
Meat
have
ra-
meat raffle in Seattle?
Wait, meat wrap?
Meat raffle. They raffle meat. I don't buy tickets, but that's what you do in northern Minnesota on a Sunday afternoon.
That just sounds so
True.
inappropriate. So inappropriate.
It's
But-
kind of fun to say though. We wear a lot of plaid when we
Sounds
go
like
to
a
meet.
party to me.
I have to plug in my device or we're gonna have a problem. Hold that thought and I'm gonna finish the story.
All right. Hold the thought on the meat raffle. I don't think I should hold that thought
No,
because
you should hold the meat
we
raffle.
will get banned from YouTube for
We
sure.
will not get banned from meat raffle. It's like
You
Don't
have
do that.
you have not heard the thoughts that are going through my head.
sometimes they have hot dogs.
I need a drink.
and, you know. Okay.
Here you go, Bill.
All right.
Well, thanks,
So,
buddy.
I
There
use
you
very
go.
hot water
Cheers,
and
mate.
detergent. I'm telling my story right over you. I'm
Cheers.
sorry. Very hot water, buckets of water, lots of detergent, rags. Everything's clean, smells fresh. It's awesome. I go to meat raffle. It might have taken 10 hours for me to come home from meat raffle, but eventually I did come home. And you know what? Are you ready?
I don't know what.
Ready for this? I
I'm
went into
not ready.
Julie, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready for anything.
Bill, you're ready.
Julie,
for this?
you?
So ready.
Is
Okay,
everybody
let her
ready
rip.
for the grand finale of my intense and well-told story? All right. I walk into my bathroom and there is fresh blood smeared on the walls.
What?
What?
Yes. Yes. Yes, there was not
No.
a giant amount, but enough for me to know that's what it was. Like, it was not barbecue sauce. It was not ketchup. It was still wet, but I had been gone for 10 hours.
Whoa.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's weird.
Really
You
weird.
have the portal in your bathroom.
I told you that's where the portal is. I'm going to have to leave messages there this week, I think.
That stuff freaks me out.
Well, there was a lot of other stuff happening at that time too, but like I said, since Petunia came, fewer things.
Huh.
You know, so I already told the Camaro story, and I think my experiences have been more there is some force protecting me from my stupid decisions than
For
like
sure.
smearing blood all over the place. But like when I rode my Harley to Minnesota last year, it was kind of a similar thing. I'd gone, I don't know, 1,500 miles and was like 40 miles from home, and I started coughing, and like sometimes you start coughing and it fucks with your blood pressure, just like if you stand up too fast, you know how you black out. Well, I was on my Harley going, and not fast, it was like on a 2-lane road, sort of like the Camaro story, and I started coughing and I blacked out on my bike, and like blacked out to where I couldn't see anything. I could still feel, but I wasn't really in control, and all I could think is wake up, wake up, wake up. And like I could feel the front handlebars start to shimmy a little bit, and I'm like, fuck, was there a car on the side of me, whatever, and like just like whatever. But like I was out, it probably wasn't more than a second or two, but like I swear to God, there's some force that's out there keeping me alive beyond all the
that force is going to be your sister, and we're working on your health. Sorry. Or you're getting
I think we probably need,
I got an
we probably need to,
explanation for what just happened to you.
we probably
And it's
need to
happened
work
to me
on my
before too.
we probably
It's
need to
the
work on my
tequila
decision.
gods. The
I was
tequila
good.
gods need to keep you rolling, dude.
All right. Well, so Bill, I was completely sober.
What?
If we were talking about blacking out from tequila, those are completely different stories. But yeah, I'm sure the tequila gods want to keep me around because like
Yeah.
I'm their biggest customer. Anyway, but no, like just weird things from making poor decisions and still surviving them.
Well,
Ken, I got a serious question for you, since you're our fearless leader.
See,
And
did
your
you hear that?
beautiful sister,
Did you hear that, Sandy?
I've got a serious question. Do you
the leader.
think that tequila is like an interdimensional elixir that keeps this whole universe spinning?
I don't know if it's interdimensional. I do think it has magical properties that helps us in our decision making skills. Sorry, Julie, you're gonna add to that.
In my tequila life, it's felt very interdimensional at times. So
I think at one time it was probably used for ceremonial purposes, but that is not what you two yahoos are doing with it.
What? Hold on. Are you allowed? Are you allowed to call your fearless leader Yahoo? I think that is. I think that is inappropriate.
Ken's gonna run with this fearless leader now. That's all.
Yeah, but
I think that tequila does.
Hold on, guys. In all honesty, fearless leader sounds so much better than boss. So I think that we should run with it.
Didn't we have a little vignette about that?
Videos. If you follow our channel, you will find that I am the boss.
Yeah, I'm thinking no. Whatever.
Speaking of,
hold on 1 second.
Hold on.
Julie, I have the power to boot you right the hell out or mute your mic. See, she's like blah blah blah.
We need to get together and drink.
So
I did mute you because I'm the boss and I can do that. All right. Anyway, Sandy, go ahead.
I don't remember what I was going to say now. You talked way too long.
The boss is allowed to do that. I mean, the fearless leader is allowed to do that.
Okay, we have 3 minutes left. We need to say something.
All right, hold on. I before we leave, I do want to say to our adoring fan, we appreciate you very much, and we are glad you are here with us. And we will buy you a drink at some point. All right. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Let's do that.
He doesn't drink. Our fan doesn't drink. But
Our
he watches
fan,
us anyway.
our fan enjoys an IPA, even though I don't understand why anyone would drink a stinky feet beer. But anyway,
you can't.
We should. I can't. What?
You shouldn't put down companies that are trying to make a living and employing people.
But I'm the boss.
Oh, God.
Okay, seriously, now we only have 2 minutes. You just spent one of our minutes on that. And
appreciating our adoring fan. Yes.
I feel like the only person here who has something useful to add is our expert witness.
What?
Yes.
Well,
the only that is true.
I'm kind of like 4 drinks in at this point.
I'm going to trump our fearless leader then.
I will mute you with impunity.
You're using up her time now. It's 1 minute. Give the girl a chance to talk.
Talk fast, expert witness.
Well, I think this is a fascinating subject, and I think it all can tie in together with whatever we want to call it, whoever calls it what. Even with Sasquatch, I think our Sasquatch buddy would probably have his own experiences. And yeah, that's it. I'm good.
Thank you for being with us, expert witness.
Thank you, Captain Gak.
All right.
Gak Sparrow.
Thank you, fearless leader.
Interesting note, we're out of time, but Ken and I are descended from pirates, and one of the surnames was Sparrow.
Yep. I love it.
We are descended from pirates.
We are
And-
pirates
Arg.
and mercenaries.
All right.
Oh,
All right. So I do want to thank everyone that joined for today. Thank you to our panel. I do want to thank our adoring fan, and in July our podcast may be a little bit later because I'm going to be getting on the bike and going for a little bit of a ride, and we can't have a podcast without our fearless leader. So any closing thoughts before we close the podcast?
I'm good.
I need a nap.
Bill.
And we need to make sure we invite the Caucasian Sasquatch on.
Yes, we did have a little side chat. If you follow the texts, he did say he had ghost stories as well. He has a very intriguing Sasquatch story, which I think is worth sharing.
Why didn't you invite him in? Can you do that?
We will at some point, but that's for a future date. And Bill, he's really asking for the Hitchcock TV, so we need to have a conversation on that. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you for joining our podcast, and make sure you're subscribed so I don't have to slap you around.
Makes
or take
sense
a
to
rubber
me.
band to your balls.